Hey, welcome to the 4th episode of Paranoid Disposition. With the election and our impending doom so close, we decided to do a special election edition of Paranoid Disposition.
But since lately the news and social media has been bombarded with depressing and frankly upsetting updates on the U.S. election, we decided to lighten the mood a bit with some ridiculous conspiracy theories about our least favorite GOP member. No, we are not talking about Donald Trump. We're talking about the most cherished, God-fearing, gay-hating man of the land, Ted Cruz. Or, as I recently learned, Rafael Cruz.
Fuck that guy.
Did you know that that's like his real name?
Yeah.
But I guess he goes by Ted because his father's name is Rafael. I don't know. I just thought it was funny that his secret name was Rafael.
And
he wanted to sound more American.
And he was born in Canada.
He was born in Canada.
Cuban.
So a little history on Ted Cruz. So he was born Rafael Edward Cruz, which I guess Edward is where you get Ted. Which, by the way, what the fuck? What does that mean? How does Ted come from Edward? Okay, that's...
Ted, Ed.
No.
That should be Ed.
There's no T in it. Okay, I'm going to stop. Okay, so he was born on December 22nd in 1970. He is currently 46. He was born in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. In 74, In 74, his family moved to Houston. His mother is from Delaware. His father is from Cuba, but eventually became a U.S. citizen. And as everyone knows, Cruz is a politician and attorney, and obviously he just ran.
Oops.
No, we don't need to be quiet about that. He is a fucking asshole. I hate him, and that is why we decided to do an episode about him and all his evil ways.
Like, he reminds me of a Grandpa Munster, but, like, a mean version that might molest your children.
Okay, like, I don't want to... I feel hypocritical to comment on his looks. But, I mean, like, he wants, like, gay people to go through conversion therapy, so I kind of feel like he doesn't have any room to speak. He's hella creepy.
And how he wants to make this a Christian nation.
Yeah, he wants to make us a Christian nation. Okay. This is supposed to be these are supposed to be like a light political episode. So let's go into the first conspiracy about him.
All right.
We're going to be talking about one of my favorite subjects.
Because Beth loves murder.
Serial killers! Yay! Okay. So, I'm sure you heard the rumor that went around recently that Ted Cruz is the Zodiac Killer.
Well, give us some insight on the Zodiac Killer.
Yeah, so, like, I already talked about Ted Cruz's background. Now I'm going to talk about Zodiac Killer. So, he was a serial killer from December 1968 to October 1969 in California. He has confirmed kills of 5 people between the ages of 16 and 29.
Yeah, 16 and 29.
And, I mean, there are other kills that we think may have been him, but those are the confirmed ones we have. So the name Zodiac, like, I mean, most serial killers get nicknames, like, based on what they're doing. Because, I mean, if you think about it, like, we don't know the killer's name, so what are we going to call them? Like, not like
the DC snipers.
Yeah,
like
the
that.
DC snipers. I mean, like, a lot of serial killers have nicknames. And they're usually created by, like, journalists. No, it can't just be my name. What does that mean? Like, unless it's a serial killer pretending to be me.
You sign your name at every crime scene.
Because I signed that. Wow, I'm really dumb.
In your victim's blood.
You would think, like, with all the research I've done on serial killers, I would know better.
It's because nobody would think that you'd be dumb enough to do that.
Or is it because, like, I'm, like, so sweet that, like, no one would, like, guess it's me? Though I've been talking about my love for serial killers, so maybe I've messed up my whole plan.
Except you're a really narcissistic serial killer. Don't give me that.
You're gonna be my first victim now.
I'm gonna be the
you
next
watch
one.
out. Watch your back, man. God, I can do this podcast by myself. Okay, so the name Zodiac originated from a series of taunting letters that were sent to local journalists in the Bay Area, like different newspapers in the Bay Area. And the letters' contents were 4 cryptograms, or like ciphers. And cryptograms are puzzles with a short piece of encrypted text. And by recognizing a pattern in the encrypted text, you can decipher it. Only one of the 4 cryptograms has ever been solved. Yeah. And so, like, in some of these letters, he took credit for some of the murders. And I remember, like, after his first letter, they, like, the deputies put in the newspaper, basically, give us proof that these are really you. Because, I mean, people impersonate serial killers, like, in letters to the press all the time. It's like a weird complex people have. They want to insert themselves into the investigation. They want to be involved. I mean, there's also, like, copycat killers.
Yeah.
Like, this is a phenomenon. So they wanted to make sure it was really him. So he sent in, like, a piece of a bloody shirt from one of the victims. And that's how they knew it was him. Like, really him.
Eek.
Yeah. So through descriptions from witnesses who saw a man leaving the scene of one of the murders, they created the sketch. And that's really the biggest clue. I mean, outside of these letters, that's really the biggest clue that we have.
It's just the sketch?
Yeah, it's just the sketch. And I'm sure you've seen the sketch before.
Of course.
Of course. Everyone's seen the sketch before. And that's really the biggest, piece of evidence. No one was ever arrested in this case. And the case remains unsolved. Until now.
And the year was 2013.
And that's when we finally cracked it.
So Ted was giving a keynote speech at the Conservative Political Action Conference.
CPAC.
It was mostly forgettable.
Yeah, it wasn't really that notable. He, like, complained about Obamacare. Typical.
Yeah. He was denying that he was crazy. And he cracked a weird joke comparing Newt Gingrich to Anne Hathaway's character in Les Miserables.
Because he had, like, Newt Gingrich had, like, lost weight, so he compared him to, like, a starving girl, like, during the French Revolution. That makes sense and isn't insensitive at all. Okay, continue.
But, so during this, Red Pill America tweeted out, #CPAC alert, Ted Cruz is speaking. His speech is titled, "This is the Zodiac speaking."
And that was the start of a now infamous trend and eventual hashtag. So it did not pick up speed, like this rumor that Ted Cruz is a Zodiac Killer.
It took 3 years.
Yeah, what it really took was him running for president.
Yeah.
Because, like, I think I had heard his name before, but he really wasn't memorable until his presidential run. So on December 15th of 2015, a Facebook page titled Ted Cruz is the Zodiac Killer was launched. Unsurprisingly, this was the same day as the 5th GOP debate that Cruz is the assumed winner of. So, you know, he's in a debate, and basically, like, the guy who was winning was Donald Trump.
Ugh.
So, in this debate, Cruz wins. And unsurprisingly, a conspiracy theory pops up at the same time. And so, within the next 2 months, the group got 9,400 likes.
It's up to 27,000 members right now.
Oh my God. I actually was like, wait, how have I not liked this group? I need to go do that.
I don't like liking groups because then the government knows what I do.
I don't care if the government knows that I think Ted Cruz is a Zodiac Killer. I'm okay with that. They can know that about me. Also, we're making a podcast about it.
Oh, are we?
I think it's a little late.
Oh, wait, the mic's on.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm pretty sure
I thought we were just hanging out.
No, I'm pretty sure we're recording this. So then, on January 20th of 2016, a Twitter user posted a fake quote of Cruz confessing to the Zodiac Killer murders. And on the same day, there was another tweet that said, Ted Cruz was born in Calgary. The Zodiac Killer's first 2 victims were named Cal and Gary.
No
#
way.
Zodiac Ted. I mean, like, really, if you look into this, like, it all started on Twitter.
Yeah.
Like, all of her references to this is on Twitter.
I mean, in February 2016, somebody tweeted out a Photoshop picture of Ted Cruz at the debate, and then the ticker at the bottom, it said, "Is Ted Cruz the Zodiac Killer?"
Actually, before that...
Oh, there's...
Yeah, like, that user actually, like, earlier in the day, he tweeted, "Everyone Google Ted Cruz is the Zodiac Killer." So it shows up on the CBS trend ticker. And then later that day, he posts a picture. So, like, honestly, that may be real. I haven't figured out whether it was real or not, because he tweeted telling people to do this, and then later on he posted a screenshot of the debate, and the number one trending thing on Google was, "Is Ted Cruz the Zodiac Killer?" So, yeah. So after that is when it really took off.
Yeah, I mean, if you went to Google and just put "is Ted" into the search, it automatically said the Zodiac Killer.
And that makes sense if it actually became a trending topic. So I actually think that image may be real, which makes my whole life worth it. Like, Ted Cruz was on the debate stage trying to, like, debate and be serious, and below it said, "Is Ted Cruz the Zodiac Killer?" Life made. Oh, my God. So then on February 17th, activist / personal hero Tim Faust began selling T-shirts with a cartoon image of Ted Cruz as the Zodiac Killer, and so there was like a drawing of him. It was kind of like him morphed with the Zodiac Killer drawing, and it says, like, around it says Ted Cruz was the Zodiac Killer. And the sales of the shirts, I love this. This is what makes him really my hero. Benefited a group that helped women pay for abortions in Texas, because obviously Ted Cruz is a huge anti-abortion guy. And they ended up raising $69,000. Yeah,
I did read that.
I mean, that's awesome.
And it sucks because he stopped making those shirts now because the demand was so high.
Yeah,
he was getting
said
like
he couldn't keep up with it.
Like 200 orders a day.
Yeah, and it was just too much because he was just like one guy trying to do it. So, like, really after that, it kind of died down. But, like, the final, like, pop culture moment, I guess, for this was at the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
Larry Wilmore,
other personal hero. He made a joke about the theory that Ted Cruz is the Zodiac Killer, saying that it was ridiculous because some people actually like the Zodiac Killer. So Ted Cruz is less likable than the Zodiac Killer.
Do you want to know what else I find hilarious?
Tell
the
me.
public policy polling found that 38% of voters in Florida believe that Ted Cruz might be the Zodiac Killer.
Yeah.
In fact, 10% said that, yes, they would. They thought he was, and 28% were not sure.
And this was like a respected polling company. Like, it was the polling outfit Public Policy Polling. And, like, other questions were about, like, serious issues with the presidential election. And the fact that they added this, again, life made. It's amazing. The other, the realistic part of it, I hate to bring realism into this. I'm sorry. I'm Scully. Everyone who answered that poll was simply playing along with a joke. I mean, like, everyone had seen it online and the memes. So, like, they were playing along.
I mean, on the Facebook group, it said, where is my note for it? Oh, it said, they said, you don't actually believe, the first rule of the Ted Cruz is the Zodiac meme club is this: you don't actually believe Ted Cruz is the Zodiac.
Exactly. But the thing is like, unsurprisingly, his supporters did not get that it was a joke. And so they kept commenting, like, pointing out, like, whenever people would post about it, they point out, like, hello, he wasn't born until 1970, and he was born in Canada, and the murder started in 68 in California.
I still believe it could happen. I have... Go on.
Wow. I'm really excited to hear this conspiracy as to how it happened. So, and I feel like it's also kind of like a play on Republicans' love of conspiracies. So, like, obviously, like, liberals, I'm just saying that loosely, came up with this to like poke fun at Ted Cruz. But I mean, like, Republicans love to come up with insane conspiracy theories, like Obama's like birtherism.
Yeah.
So I feel like,
That he's a lizard person.
yeah, like Hillary has a body clone. I mean, it goes on and on. But like, I feel like this was kind of a way of like the younger generation of like Democratic voters like poking fun at these like unreasonable conspiracies that Republicans love to come up with. Okay, now I would like to hear your rationalization for this conspiracy.
And this
I'm
actually
excited.
ties up to our next thing we're going to be talking about.
Oh, yay.
So, what if Ted found the portal in the back of Al's diner that transports him back to September 9th, 1958? Much like in the book 11/22/1963.
You know, my mind has changed. I was actually thinking, like,
He just time traveled there.
maybe...
Because he's such a piece of shit that he wants to murder people, too.
I was thinking maybe Ted Cruz is a lizard person. And, I mean, lizard people...
Creatures that
Yeah, I mean...
secretly run our world.
Exactly. And they can change their appearance. I mean, that's not like lizard people don't actually look like humans. They look like lizards, but they can change their appearance to look like humans so they can blend in. So maybe Ted Cruz is a lizard person. And so it's almost like in a former life. Like, he used to be the Zodiac Killer, and then he was like, I want to get into GOP politics and be an asshole. So then he formed into, like, a creepy-looking guy and became Ted Cruz. And I think the most compelling evidence is that Ted Cruz has never denied he's the Zodiac Killer.
Wait, he actually... Where is my note for this? Oh, wait, no, that's
his wife.
That's,
is that what you're thinking of?
No, it's for our next subject, the quote that I was thinking of.
Okay.
Never mind.
Because, like, his wife did, like after the Larry Wilmore thing, they, like, asked her about it. And she, like, joked it off, and she still said that, like, she's been married to him for 15 years, and, like, she thinks she knows him pretty well.
Well, what happened before the 15 years?
Exactly, because this all happened. Like, duh. Wow.
Ted Cruz is the Zodiac Killer.
So I still
Confirmation.
stand by the fact that, like, if he didn't deny it, like, I mean, if you're not the Zodiac Killer, why don't you just say, no, I'm not the Zodiac Killer?
What are you hiding, Ted Cruz?
Why? We want answers. And I really hope you're listening to this, Ted Cruz.
Yeah, 'cause fuck you.
And I hope that you take to heart the fact that you hurt so many people with your views that they have started a rumor that you're a serial killer. Like, doesn't that make you reevaluate your life?
Probably not.
True. I mean, he hasn't yet, but
Well, anyway, on to our next subject.
he hates gays. He hates gays, and we hate him. Okay, continue.
So, what I was saying about the portal in Al's Diner. Well, that book that I...
What book was that?
11/22/1963. It's by Stephen King. It's about
I've never read that.
guy that goes back in time to stop the Kennedy assassination.
Didn't they make didn't Hulu just make a show? I've been wanting to watch that show, actually.
Do it.
I will.
Okay, well, yeah, this goes into our next subject, which is Ted Cruz's dad's involvement with Lee Harvey Oswald. Beth really wants to say some things.
Little known fact, I have a major crush on Lee Harvey Oswald. If you see, there's like this one photo of him where he has like his arms folded and he's wearing like a tweed jacket. He just looks like a moody beat poet. And I don't know, like it really, I love him. I have a crush on him. I don't condone his actions, but I think he's a hottie with a body. Okay, continue.
All right, well, actually, I found out some more information. This starts sooner than I thought.
And like, I guess I should say that this is a little more serious. I mean, from a Scully point of view, this is more plausible than him being the Zodiac Killer, right? I mean, you agree with that, you know?
But I believe my own thing that happened with the whole JFK.
Okay.
But this...
There's like a way to put this together that
Yeah.
it makes sense, kind of. Okay, go
All
ahead.
right, well, this actually happened back in 2013 as well. There was an article on a Christian website of all
Of
about Oswald's Cuban ties, and said nothing about Ted's father, Rafael Cruz. But there's a comment by Anonymous that says, "I truly believe that Rafael Cruz should be further investigated for his part in the Kennedy assassination."
Interesting.
So
So for the record, this conspiracy theory is not about Ted Cruz. It's about Ted Cruz's father and his involvement in the JFK assassination. I just want to clear that up, that we're not talking about Ted Cruz himself, obviously, since he wasn't alive yet. Or was he?
I mean, if he killed all those people back in California.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, anything's possible. It's all connected.
Now we fast forward to this year, in April. The Wade Madsen report, which is, he's just an American journalist who specializes in intelligence and international affairs, like huge crackpot.
Yeah, isn't he one of those Republican conspiracy theorists?
He thinks Obama's gay. So him and Ted probably would get along amazingly.
Is he also is he also a birther? I mean, I assume so.
I'm not too sure.
Why is he gay? Why? Why? Okay, sorry. If that's shade at Michelle, I'm gonna beat your ass. Not you, obviously. The guy. There's nothing wrong with being gay, but there is something wrong with saying that Michelle is a beard because she's not feminine enough. That makes me really mad.
No, they say she's transsexual. Well, no, transgender, not sexual.
Transgender is the term. Yes, that is a rumor that was going around that made me very, very upset. I mean, it was during the whole transgender bathroom issue. I remember there was some local politician who was posting about it angrily, and other people were commenting on it, saying that the only reason. Okay, we're getting too serious political. But anyways,
I was about to say, this is getting deep.
I love my girl Michelle.
Trapped, not trapped.
She's my homie.
All right.
Continue.
Well, the Wade Madsen report published an article posting a link between the father of Republican presidential candidate Ted Cruz and the JFK assassination. What
year was this?
This year.
Okay.
2016. So 3 years after the anonymous post.
Was his before the National Enquirer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Previous questions have surfaced about the 1960s activities of Rafael Cruz Sr., the father of GOP presidential hopeful Rafael Cruz Jr. I like how they said that, and then it's Ted Cruz.
Because remember that Rafael Cruz is from Cuba. Cuba, when he left, was controlled by Fidel Castro, who was a communist. JFK was assassinated by Lee Harvey Oswald for Kennedy's anti-communist comments and going after Fidel Castro and the Bay of Pigs. So, that's the connection, is basically communism, which was a hot topic in America at the time. You could have the government show up on your doorstep, ask you a bunch of questions if people think you're a communist.
And also, he stopped Operation, what was it, Northwood? Which was one of the reasons why they...
Raphael?
No, JFK.
Oh. I don't think I've ever heard of Northwood.
Yeah, Operation Northwoods. It was going to be a false flag attack on Cuba, so we could go over and invade them.
And JFK stopped it?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that make Castro like him?
Not if they were going to war.
But they were gonna invade, but JFK stopped it.
Yeah, they're gonna make it look like the Cubans attacked us.
Oh.
So we could go over.
I wonder why he stopped. I'm surprised I don't know about this,
idea,
actually.
and then...
Well, yeah, but presidents do dumb things all the time.
But anyway, we're getting sidetracked
Yeah,
again.
we're getting really sidetracked. Sorry.
But, so based on the presence of Elder Cruz, an anti-Castro activist in Dallas and New Orleans before the November 22nd, 1963 assassination of President John F. Kennedy, there was a strong reason to believe that Cruz was associated with the CIA agent, the CIA's anti-Castro operations. Furthermore, a Cuban hired by alleged JFK assassin Lee Harvey Oswald, and who bears a striking resemblance to Cruz, is seen in an iconic photograph of Oswald and a group of Cubans Oswald hired who were distributing Hands Off Cuba pamphlets in New Orleans in the summer of 1963.
And this photograph, and also videos, there are videos of them doing it too, is really the proof that people turn to. That this is really almost like the catalyst for this theory. Because, so just to break down, because Alex said that really fast. There are photographs and videos of Lee Harvey Oswald with 2 other men handing out pamphlets in New Orleans. And they're New Orleans. And they're pro-communist pamphlets. And the theory is saying that one of those men is Rafael Cruz, Ted's father.
And Mitch Goldstone, president and CEO of an outfit called Scan My Photos, compared the footage to old pictures of Raphael and concluded there's more similarities than dissimilarities. It looks to be the same person, and I can say as much with a high degree of confidence.
But these, photos in the 60s were so really low quality.
Exactly, which is why I think this is stupid.
Yeah.
Okay, I know of 2 people that look like me out in the world. So
yeah, I mean, people, and especially in low quality photos, photos from the 60s, I often have trouble seeing distinction between people.
Yeah.
And that's probably why I think Lee Harvey Oswald is hot, because I don't have any high quality photos of him. So, by the way, this was 3 months before the assassination, which was in 1963.
In Dallas, which is where Raphael went to school in Texas.
Yes,
he
did.
He was just a car, an hour or so away, I believe. 4 hours?
No, it was a couple hours.
Yeah, 4 hours.
Did you see the photo that placed him at the assassination?
Yeah, I saw that. It looks nothing like him.
It looks
How
like
can
a
you draw
guy
comparisons?
around the same age. One of them has a mustache and one of them doesn't. So it doesn't really make sense. But, conspiracy theorists.
Okay, so...
So, I just want to say, you said that people said that they looked similar.
Yeah.
And with this story, it really depends on what website you read and what point of view that website has. Because, let's be real, this is a conspiracy theory that was put forward into the press and controlled by Donald Trump.
Well, first, let's backtrack a little bit.
Okay, sorry.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
But, so, I believe it was a month late. Well, the following month, the National Enquirer ran a story.
Yes. On May 2nd.
Yeah, May 2nd. No, May 1st is when it came out. Yeah.
My notes say May 2nd.
Oh, I looked at the cover of the timestamp.
I did too. It said May 2nd. Whatever. It's fine. It was the beginning of May.
It was the first week of May.
Yeah. And then...
the following Tuesday...
on May 3rd. Can we agree on that one?
Yep,
okay.
May 3rd.
May 3rd.
On
Donald...
Fox and Friends.
Let's say it together.
On
on Fox and Friends. So on Fox News, Donald... You just gonna let me talk?
I like how they say Fox and Friends, making it seem like a children's TV show, it's gonna be all happy and upbeat.
It's not a children's television.
But it's Fox News.
It's Fox News.
So this, ugh.
Don't let your children watch Fox News.
Don't let anybody watch Fox News.
True. Okay, so on May 3rd, so a day or two after the National Enquirer article comes out, Donald Trump refers to this article and this theory on Fox News. And it should be noted that the Enquirer has endorsed Trump.
Yeah, I was just about to say that they do endorse Trump.
And the Enquirer already put forward an anti-Cruz article. It was the one saying that he had a bunch of mistresses, and then Donald Trump went wild with it. And it's so obvious that the National Enquirer was printing these because Cruz was Trump's biggest opponent.
Yeah.
He was the biggest in the Republican primary. He was the other guy that Donald Trump had to worry about because he was very popular. I mean, Rubio had some moments, but mostly it was Cruz and Trump.
They all have a face on one.
They were the two front runners. So it's not surprising that a newspaper or magazine that endorsed Trump would put forward articles damaging to his opponent.
But I just love how Trump uses that as actual intel.
I know you can't reference the National Enquirer as a reliable news source. Are you kidding me?
Trump went on to go and say on Fox and Friends, and his father was with Lee Harvey Oswald prior to Oswald being, shot. I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous. What is this? And nobody even brings it up. They don't even talk about it.
It's a conspiracy. Only really he's the one who started a conspiracy.
And that was reported and nobody talks about it. I mean, what was he doing with Lee Harvey Oswald shortly before his death, before the shooting? It's horrible.
It was one of those things where, like, Trump says, like, a lot of people are talking about this, like, why isn't, like, or, like, some people say, like, it was just, like, that very, like...
I was just walking through the store and I saw this right next to the cash register.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things where, like, he's trying to make something out of nothing, and he puts it forward as, like, a reliable thing. Like, why aren't people talking about this?
Yeah.
When, like, we're not talking about it because it's the National Enquirer, and... who cares?
Did you know they found Bat Boy in a cave in West Virginia?
Ah! Oh my gosh, the number of things that I've seen. And I've noticed that it's usually very anti-Hillary. Mm-hmm. They're always talking about, like, how, like, Bill has STDs and Hillary's dead already. Like, she died. Okay, anyways.
But that same day that Trump was on Fox and Friends, Ted suspended his campaign for president. That same day.
Really? I mean,
Yeah.
he was already losing. Like, he already could not win.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like a final nail in the coffin. I didn't know it was the same day, though.
Yep.
Wow.
It's all connected.
So, I do want to talk a little bit about, I mean, like, a reason that people maybe believe it is that, like, Rafael Cruz already has a bad, like, reputation for lying. Like, on the campaign trail, Ted Cruz enjoyed telling stories of how his brave father, had fought beside Frank Pace, who he enjoyed that his father fought beside Cuban revolutionary hero Frank Pace, and he said that his father, like, was next to this guy when he died. Like, it was the same battle.
When in actuality, he died 7 months later.
7 months earlier.
Was it earlier?
The Washington Post said earlier, and I trust the Washington Post
I was going by the New York Times.
Really?
Yeah.
Basically...
Regardless, there was a 7-month gap where somebody died.
They
Where he
lied
died.
about his father fighting alongside this Cuban revolutionary hero. And it also, like, there's really no proof that he even fought.
Yeah, some of his friends say that he was actually just a
whiny bitch.
Yeah,
That's how his friends described him.
Yeah, he, like, wrote on walls and marched in the streets.
Yeah.
He didn't
like, he
run
wasn't
around
actually
with a rebel leader.
Yeah, he wasn't, like, fighting for anything.
He was just being a hoodlum.
So other things is that, the handing out of the flyers happened in 1963 in New Orleans. We know for a fact that Raphael did live in New Orleans later.
Yeah, later on.
Like,
it wasn't that
in the mid-60s. So, and we don't know for sure where he lived in the early 60s. Like, we know he had just graduated from college.
Well, supposedly, according to Ancestry.com, he lived briefly in Dallas in 1962 before moving to New Orleans.
Which is almost sketchier because that's where the assassination happened. So basically, like, we don't know for sure where he was. So it's one of those things, like, it's possible.
We sure do know where he went.
And so the story about handing out the flyers. So after the assassination, the government put together, like, a commission to investigate JFK's death.
Yeah.
It was called the Warren Commission. And there were, like, lawyers that were interviewing people. And, because they had to, like, they were trying to figure out what happened.
Yeah.
And so they found these photos of Lee Harvey Oswald with 2 other men handing out communist propaganda. So they managed to track down one of the men. And the story that he told was that he was at the Louisiana State Employment, unemployment office, basically. And Oswald walked up to him and another guy and offered them $2 to help hand out pamphlets.
Yeah, for, like, what, 20 minutes? Like, $2 for 20 minutes?
Yeah, it was like $2 for 20 minutes, which, back then was more money. So So his story is that he didn't know Oswald. He was just there, was offered money, and he said that when they were handing it out, once people started taking their pictures, he didn't even know. He didn't even pay attention to what he was handing out. Like, he didn't know he was handing out communist propaganda, which maybe he was just saying that because he didn't want to get in trouble with the U.S. government. But anyways, and this guy's name was Charles Steele. So he said he didn't know Oswald. Once he saw people, like, taking their pictures and getting upset, you know, because communism was a big deal.
Yeah.
So when people realized what was happening, they started, like, a crowd started gathering. He said he went up to Oswald. He said, "Give me my money. I'm leaving." And he did. And, you know, he said that, like, he never learned the other man's name. You know, they really didn't talk that much. He did say that it was kind of vague, his explanation to the lawyers, because they were asking him for a description. You know, because, you know, they wanted to find the other man because they wanted to see, like, wait, is the other guy in these pictures a part of the assassination plan? So they asked him to give him a description. Like, at one point he says, like, I shouldn't say this, but he looked Cuban. But then he also says that he barely got a look at him. He really didn't know. Like, they asked him how tall the man was, and they said he was, like, around Oswald's height, which was, like, 5'9", I think.
5'9", 5'10".
Yeah, and people point out the fact that obviously Raphael would look Cuban, since he was Cuban.
Yeah.
And he's said to be slightly shorter than his son, who is 5'10". So that puts him around the same height. That's really not that much proof. No, I mean, like, that. And, like, then there's also the point is, like, would Raphael be supporting communist Cuba and Castro? From all accounts, it's said that by the time Raphael left Cuba, he hated Castro. Like, he saw all the terrible things he was doing.
Like, he noticed he was a communist.
Yeah, it was like once he realized he was a communist, he kind of, like, saw the light. You know, because at first when, like dictators take over, you don't really realize how terrible they are.
Trump.
Donald Trump. But, like, eventually it's, like, you can't hide the fact that they're doing evil things. Like, Hitler. I mean, people liked him when because he was elected. So...
You see how that went, guys.
Yeah. Anyways, so, by all accounts, Raphael would not be supporting Castro or communism. Raphael, of course, when all this came out, he said that it was not him. He says he did not move to New Orleans until 1965. And, of course, he said that, like, the man in the photo does not look like him.
But supposedly relocated to Canada around that time, too.
I did see that. Yes, he relocated to Canada around the time of the assassination.
After the assassination. Because he fled.
And then there's also, like, the photo of it's like the classic photo of JFK in the convertible. And there's a guy in the background in the crowd that people say is Raphael Cruz.
It's definitely not.
No, it's not.
But supposedly, yeah, after the assassination, he ran off to Canada to work for an oil company. Supposedly it was owned
Isn't
by...
that what he's in now? Isn't he... Or, like, that's how they got rich, right? Was, like, oil business?
I think so.
I think that's what his parents
he worked... supposedly it was Bush's oil company.
Like George Bush?
Yeah.
Oh, well, the GOP are all in bed together.
It was Arbusto Energy, but that wasn't formed until 1977. Before that, though, George worked for Zapata Oil.
Are you talking about George Bush?
George H.W. Bush. First one. First generation. 1.0.
Okay.
But yeah, supposedly he worked there, and that's how Ted Cruz got into Princeton, because of the Bush connection, supposedly.
Oh, so he's probably in the Skull and Bones, which is also something we should discuss in future. That I can get behind.
That's
Skull and
not
Bones?
dumb enough.
Oh, you don't think it's dumb enough? Okay. Well, maybe we can find a silly quirk. Anyways. So, as I like to end the episode, on a serious note, obviously the JFK Cruz conspiracy was created by Donald Trump to take down his opponent. There was really no evidence to support it. I mean,
There's no evidence for any of this.
The amount of evidence for this is basically he was alive.
Yeah, that's
like,
it.
I mean...
And he so happened to live in 2 of the states where these things happened.
Yeah, but, like, think about, like, all the other people that just don't happen to be running for president that probably have much more evidence. I mean, yeah. So, yeah, Trump's an idiot. He comes up with weird conspiracy theories. And, like, I know Cruz, like, Ted was super pissed when this came up. I remember, like, he seemed, like, hurt by it. Yeah, because, like, he was already losing, and I think, like, he felt like you're going after my father, like, trying to, like...
low.
Yeah, it is pretty low. It's pretty dirty, like...
Well, that's Trump for you.
True. I mean, like, the JFK assassination is, like, such a stain on, like, the country's history that makes people really sad. So, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, I do, actually.
Oh.
Well, as you all know, the election is next week. And
It sure is.
I just want everybody to go out there and vote. And
yes,
just don't worry. Like, okay, of course it's for the president, but there are other things at stake too.
It's very important.
So please just take a moment out of your time, go to Google, type in who's on the ballot. They'll ask you for your address, put it in, and they'll tell you everybody that's running for whatever, like, laws that are being put forth. Just please take a look. Do some research before you go to the polls next week.
Just because you're disenchanted by the presidential election, that does not mean that there aren't other elections you need to vote for. The down ballot elections matter just as, if not more. I mean, really,
government is like a pyramid. Like,
it's a pyramid.
You need to start from the bottom. You need to local government up until state. And
yeah, I mean, like, the president can't get anything done without Congress, and already it's so hard to get stuff done. But, like, my point is just because the president is seen as, like, the face of the country and he's the one who talks the most doesn't mean that he's the one getting the most done. So you really need to vote in the other elections. It's important. And I know people are fed up, but you have our future and are in your hands.
Come on.
Please vote.
Get out there, guys.
Yeah. Hey, voting's cool. I remember I was so excited when I turned 18 and I could vote for the first time.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, that is it for us, guys. Follow us on Facebook at Paranoid Disposition.
And on Instagram at also Paranoid Disposition.
And Twitter at Paranoid Dispo.
And you can follow our personal accounts. I'm Chronically Enchanted.
And I'm Alex Smith.
And this was Paranoid Disposition. And remember, keep an open mind.
But don't be an idiot.
Bye.
Later.